seek. I can see how you can find God here. I'm David Henrie, and I've always believed there's more to beauty than what meets the eye.
This is just, it is breathtaking.
So I set out to search for something more. We're traveling across Italy through Rome, Florence, Venice, Milan, and more.
I like Milanese people. I think I'm going to get used to it here. I'm normal.
Exploring the people, the culture, and the sacred art to uncover the beauty that's been speaking to hearts for centuries.
Michelangelo has found the Lord at the end of his life.
It makes me emotional.
Along the way, I've met monks, musicians, artists.
I get fired up about this stuff, man. What role do you think the artist has to play today?
Even a few fellow pilgrims.
Viva España!
And each one has helped me uncover deeper meaning.
I'm trying to understand the mind of Caravaggio. This is such a full circle moment for me.
Because beauty isn't just decoration. It's the language of the soul. Come, join me to see how timeless beauty still speaks to us today. And how it just might change the way we see everything.
Wow, please join me in a round of applause for this beautiful trailer. And also our guests here, Peter Gagnon, Edmundo Reyes, and David Henrie. Thank you so much for being with us here. My name is Andreas Tonhauser. I'm the Chief Global Officer of EWTN and the Managing Director of our Vatican offices. And right now, I would like to welcome and say hello also to all those who are joining us online in our live stream here, while all of us are here inside the Vatican at a place called the Campo Santo Teutonico, not far away from the Pope's Theater, the Filmmaker Vaticana, where we just enjoyed an episode of the new show Seeking Beauty. And we just saw the trailer also, Seeking Beauty. David, you were introducing us to this format. Can you tell us maybe a little bit more what you really mean by Seeking Beauty?
Absolutely. Thank you for having us here. It's such a joy to be on Vatican grounds talking about this show. So thank you for having us. You know, we wanted to make a travel show, a fun travel show that goes a little bit deeper. And what you might expect from a typical show on beauty or elements of the faith is an expert sitting there telling you, almost like a teaching lesson, about the faith. We sought to kind of flip that on its head and do it from the perspective of your average person, which I embody. Just asking questions, just kind of seeking, sitting with experts. So rather than an expert telling you exactly what you're supposed to learn about a specific thing, I sit there and play you, and I ask questions, and I kind of seek along the way. So it's this format that kind of flips what you expect on its head. And it's called the entertainment business, right? It's supposed to be fun. I think we have to learn how to have fun again. So it's something that's supposed to be broad, accessible, hit mass groups of people, and go a little deeper. My hope is that people will watch this, and it will just prick their conscience and make them think, I want to go there. I want to see that. I want to learn more. I want to explore that feeling. This is certainly not meant for the a theology teacher at your local school. This is meant for mass groups of people. Although the theology teacher might enjoy it too and have fun, you know. My wife and I, like, whenever we watch travel shows, we grab a glass of wine, we have fun, and we picture ourselves in the place of the people that we're watching. So this is very much that same spirit.
Did you have fun doing this?
Yeah. A couple people pointed out, wow, you're drinking a lot of wine during that. And I was like,
I did hear that.
It's a travel show. You're supposed to, like, have fun, you know, and enjoy along the way. You're in Italy. It's almost an insult, right? If you're like, if you don't have a glass of wine at lunch or aperitif or dinner, like, you know, you do these things. You do these things.
Edmundo, you're the founder of digital content. You're also the producer, executive producer, also Seeking Beauty. Why did you get involved in this project? You're involved in many projects. What is so special about this one?
Well, this was a special project for us at Digital Content, a personal project for me. You know, they asked us about the origins of this show, and I like to tell a story that is connected to this year and season 2 in Spain. So about 4 years ago, I was with my family in Sevilla. Beautiful, beautiful city. One of the most beautiful cities you could ever visit. And I was there with my 4 children. And my parents early on passed on to me the joy of traveling, the desire to see a culture and experience something, when you travel. They say, right, like the best way to learn is through travel and reading, right? So that was something that my parents had. So we took our children for the first time, 4 of them, in a European trip, and we're in Sevilla. And we're in this beautiful cathedral. In fact, people that build a cathedral would say, let's make a cathedral so magnificent that when people come inside, they would think we're mad, that we're crazy. So we're in this beautiful cathedral. Hundreds of thousands of people go there every year. And it's packed. And kind of like here at the Vatican, people come from all over the place to admire beauty or to just, nowadays just to take the photo, right? Just to tell your friends that you were there. And so they see we're with everybody, and we're seeing the big altarpiece. And then we're seeing too the tomb of Christopher Columbus. And then, by God's providence, we find ourselves in the sacristy. There's a lot of works of art there. And then there's a special room, the chapter hall. It's this oval room. It's a beautiful room. Some people say it's the crown jewel of Spanish Renaissance architecture. So you get there, and in this room, there's one painting at the very, very top, on top of the chair of the dean of this chapter hall. And it's a painting of the Immaculate Conception, painted by Esteban Murillo. And guys, what's the saddest thing is that people would come into this room, take a quick peek at this painting, and then leave. Like, they wouldn't even be there for a minute. Like, it didn't seem important. They didn't have the context. They didn't know who Murillo was. And they didn't know what the Immaculate Conception, the dogma of the Immaculate Conception is, or the role of the Virgin Mary in the role of salvation of the world. So that was when God put this desire in my heart to tell a story. So there I am in this room. I have one of those book guides, and I'm curious. There's got to be a story behind it. Okay, Immaculate Conception by Esteban Murillo. And we looked at that, and that's all it said. And when I do some research on Google, just pull out my phone, I learned that the Immaculate Conception, a great devotion to Our Lady and a belief that she was born without sin, really was defended in Spain and in Sevilla way before it became a dogma by the church, hundreds of years. So there's a story of a people and a culture that knew something that God would save this woman, right? That had this special role in salvation, and she was conceived without sin, way before theologians and people would actually come to believe that. So it's a story of people and culture and art used to communicate truth. So, I felt like, hey, one day, if God permits us, let's make a show and bring some people and bring talented people like David and other people that are here to tell those stories, to tell stories of faith through beauty. And then in God's providence, a year after, almost to the date, we find ourselves, David and the crew, filming there, Seeking Beauty Season 2 in Spain. So that's
Why would people remain then with Seeking Beauty if they don't remain with a painting that they see in a church?
Can you rephrase the question just so?
No. Why would people actually engage more with beauty if they see it in a TV format?
Yeah, I would say, if you think of it, there's travel shows, right? And we all like travel shows, and travel shows are something that people watch all the time. But I think that this is special, and what David has done is very special because it's not about going to places, but retraining us or inviting us to contemplate and to look at beauty differently. Mm-hmm. So it's about revelation, like God speaking to us through beauty, and not so much about, like, hey, here's just a cool place to visit and, put on your bucket list. But it's to allow beauty to speak to our souls.
And almost opening a door for the people.
Yes, absolutely. And through David, through his curiosity and how fun he is and how insightful he is, asking the questions that people would have, and then letting beauty speak to us. And hopefully retrain people to appreciate beauty in people, in culture, in art.
Beautiful, wonderful. Peter, you're the president of EWTN Studios, and allow me just to say, EWTN is amongst the largest media outlets in the, religious space, really. We reach 460 million TV households. You have produced hundreds of documentaries and shows. What is so special about Seeking Beauty? Why did you come here also for this special screening?
First of all, thank you and the team for bringing the screening here. It was great. I was talking to David and Edmundo earlier to say, doing the first screening inside the Vatican is kind of puts God's hands upon it, I think, upon this production. It goes back a few years when we started our EWTN Next initiative. So it was a new initiative for EWTN to say we want to have a true intentional focus on the digital space where especially younger people are really consuming content, right? And so when we did that with the launch of the new initiative, EWTN Next, we said we need to have a really great platform for people to go. So we've created EWTN Plus, a new streaming platform that's debuted on Roku in July, and by the end of the year, it'll be on all platforms. And it's really a great user experience, user interface. And then we want to expand what we did with news, and we've done that tremendously in this Vatican office as a testament to that. The third part was to create EWTN Studios. And we've done content since 1981 with Mother Angelica, but we want to see how can we expand what we're doing to reach that younger audience, to reach that digital audience with new content, a little different than what we have done in the past, and really to elevate hearts and souls through that content. And so when Edmundo approached us about the concept, it really hit us to say, this is exactly what we're looking for with this new initiative. It harkens back to Mother Angelica, who founded EWTN and loved beauty. The shrine she built in Hansville, Alabama, is a shrine to the Blessed Sacrament, is absolutely beautiful. She loved beauty. She always wanted to make sure the liturgy was beautiful, the content of EWTN was beautiful. So it ties into our mission of EWTN. And when Edmundo said, "Hey, we're going to bring David Henrie on board," for us, it was the culmination of what we wanted to do. We said this is going to be the perfect program to really launch our new platform. So we're super excited about it. It's launching in January. The series will debut in January, and it's a doorway for people to enter in, to seek beauty with David as their guide, also their partner, and they're seeking beauty, and hopefully those who see it, it'll touch their hearts, and something will move a little bit deeper, and they'll get deeper into their faith, and they'll at least be curious and want to explore. And so that's why we're super excited about Seeking Beauty.
Wonderful. David, I really love this image that we see back there of you, and I believe it's in the Vatican Gardens, close to Vatican Museums, with a dome in the background. You shot in many different places. I'm not going to say all those different places that you went to here in Italy and other countries now already. Why did you start in the Vatican?
Because I feel like, Matthew 16:18, you are Peter, and upon you I'll build this church. It kind of all starts there. Starts on Peter. The church literally starts there. So I think it was a important place to begin our journey and then go outwards from there. I mean, if you're looking at it top down from a map, everything really started in that point and then redounded outwards from there. The apostles literally spread out from there all over the world. So I think it's just apropos. It's just the right place to start.
One thing that comes to mind being here at the Campo Santo Teutonico, it's actually not such a beautiful place. So I don't know how familiar you are with where you're sitting right now, but it's very likely that actually this is the place where Peter was crucified, because we're right next door to St. Peter's Dome, where his tomb is, but it's very likely from what we know that here at the Campo Santo, it's also where a lot of Christians were martyred. It's also the place, it's the only graveyard, still open graveyard in the Vatican. This is the place where the Swiss guards fell at the Sacco di Roma when Rome was conquered by troops here, and the Pope just in the last minute fled to Castel San Angelo. So it's not such a nice place actually where we are. But I wonder, and also to the other panelists here, did you also find beauty in those places that are not so nice? How does that go together?
Of course, I think we explore all angles and continually ask questions along the way. And you get it a lot in Spain as well. But there's a lot of really heroic martyrs, and there's a beauty to that too. Because what is beauty, right? You know, you have symmetry, clarity, radiance, and in martyrdom and in the lives of the saints that are very near to us, historically speaking, there's a lot of beauty there. And we got that a lot in Spain in particular, because the Civil War wasn't too long ago when you have Catholics being slaughtered. So yes, we definitely explore that, particularly in Semana Santa, which is their Holy Week, where you see these extravagant external expressions of Holy Week. They're carrying these huge Blessed Virgin Mary statues, and the guys are sweating underneath, and they're barely keeping it up. And for instance, like that brotherhood, they took an oath back in the day that they would defend, the Blessed Mother till the last drop of blood. And Spain is very accustomed with this concept of martyrdom, fighting for the faith, and you feel that today, living still. So there certainly is a beauty to that, and it's definitely inspirational and elevating.
Edmundo?
I think in a way, we're attracted to beauty, or beauty touches us because it speaks to who we are and where we come from. I think there's something deep that happens when we encounter something beautiful, whether it's sacred art or people or culture. There's something that kind of speaks to us at a very, very deep level that is unfiltered, that we don't need almost translation to it. But it speaks to this reality of who we are as sons and daughters of God, but also where we come from. So I think it's also like a sense of history that goes into anything that we see as beauty. And beauty in a way is there's the most beautiful thing that God created, right, in the world. The crown of creation is the human person. So we found a lot of beauty in the humanity of the people that live in these cultures, that walk these paths, that build these things. We watched the episode of the Vatican, and I've watched it so many times, because you were there with the editor and like, oh no, fix these, fix that, And sometimes it just becomes very repetitive. But I hadn't watched for a while the Vatican episode, and I was watching it there, and what stood out to me is the beauty of the builders of the cathedral, or the basilica, excuse me. The beauty of their faith, of believing in something that they would never see completed, but it mattered to them. So there's beauty even in the stories around beauty that you can connect to, with something meaningful, something important that they wanted to do, and they committed their lives, their resources, and here we are. We're here in the Vatican. We're next to St. Peter Basilica, and we get to be amazed at this building, and something speaks to us, but it's also the story behind it.
David, when filming, especially here in the Vatican, but also at other places, you shared a little bit already, but was there something where you were like surprised by beauty, where you wouldn't have expected it?
Yeah, in our episode in Florence, I learned that Michelangelo had made multiple Pietas, and we got to have an up-close visit with his final Pietà that he was making while he was dying. And he didn't finish it, so it's an incompleted work. You can still see exposed marble where he wasn't able to chisel because he was too weak. And he wrote a poem in that time, and he had a deeper conversion in that time. And seeing an artist not be able to finish a work of art, there was something heartbreaking to that, but also something very profound, because death will come for us all. And despite your glory, your greatness, whatever you can achieve on this earth, you won't be able to pick up the hammer one day. And I saw that in that statue. And I heard the poem that he read. And you'll have to see the episode, because it got us all quite emotional. I looked at our cameraman, who was bawling while holding the camera during this moment in the story. That was very unexpected. And touched me very deeply, especially as an artist too. To know that one day the last frame will roll on your career, and there won't be another frame after that.
Peter, what are your hopes? How will the audience relate to what they're seeing?
Our hopes are that people will come together, both families, bring your kids, they can watch it together. Young people will watch it on their own. And the beauty of the series is that although you have the theme weaving through, each episode is very unique, and it brings a special aspect from each city, each region, each work of art. So there's so much there that can touch people in different ways, and we saw that a lot with EWTN. Somebody like, my mom was a big Father Dubé fan, and other people were like, oh no, I like Rochelle. It shows the beauty of the church, how the church is universal, and how many different ways the church offers to touch souls and bring them. And that's what this series brings. And I think once people start to watch it, they're really going to love it. And our hope is that they'll share it with others, and they'll, truly reflect on it. That's what we want. When you're watching something, reflect on what you're seeing, reflect on what you're hearing, have fun, enjoy it. It's a fun series as well. And look and continue following along the path. And hopefully it can lead to a spiritual journey for many, and which will lead them to other program in other areas in their lives, and to share it with others. That's really the hope.
And I mean, there's this aspect of evangelization, even with people who might not watch EWTN, but might just come across it on some of our social media channels or other social media channels. Why do you think they can be intrigued with that program?
I'll just one quick word. First of all, the production values are fantastic, right? So you want to draw the eye, and they did such a great job at this series. And when people see something that's beautiful, you are drawn to it. That's why, I was walking around St. Peter's yesterday, and there was this group of 4 teenage girls who were just being loud and crazy, but they walk into St. Peter's and then they got quiet, like you said with your friend, and they just start looking around. You see beauty and it intrigues. And I think when you use the social media aspect, they're bombarded with so many things right now on their phones. There's so many things happening to them, and they see so many things visually, that when they see a series like this, it'll cause them to maybe pause for a second and go, wait, let me see a little bit more of this. What is this? What am I seeing right now? And that'll be their moment to dig deeper. David, you were going to follow up?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, travel shows are a genre that work. And the reason is you can't go there. Most people can't afford to come to Italy. So this is an opportunity for them to enter into wish fulfillment, to come to a place that they could have fun and see it through our eyes. I hope that they'll be able to figure out a way to get here, to come. And I hope this gets them excited about coming here one day. That is my hope. And I think we definitely capture the fun travel show sort of energy. And I think if you're curious about Rome, if you're curious about Italy, this is a nice little entry point to begin your journey.
I'm curious now, because you said, this helping others to see it through your eyes, basically taking them by the hand. How much did you prepare for that? Or were you more like seeing what would come at you and just play with that?
It's one of those things where if you prepare too much, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, because it's the more spontaneous, the better. The more the viewer feels like if they're dropped into the situation without ever being there, if I can embody that spirit and ask those questions, the better it is. So it goes against my nature, because I constantly prepare for things. Like I memorize every single line. I know the backstory of the line. I know how it comes to be. I debate every scenario. So it's counterintuitive for me to kind of just trust that the moment will happen. That being said, I'm aware of where we are. I'm aware of different folks that we're speaking to. People have been vetted ahead of time. There certainly is a ton of preparation that goes into it, but there is a certain faith element where I literally have to go, okay, don't go too far down this rabbit hole, because you want it to come up naturally. So it's this area of prudence that's hard for me to figure out right now, but the more spontaneous, the better.
And as explained before, some of the best scenes you can't prepare for, right? They just happen.
Exactly.
Edmundo, your take on that?
Well, in terms of the hope, I think in categories. So I think for the committed Catholics, and David has this line on the episode that you guys watched, the first one, like, hopefully we all feel very proud of being Catholics, that this show is something that highlights the beauty of our faith, the beauty of our art, our sacred art, and our secret artists. So I think that that's one of the hopes, that you feel really just blessed and honored. And I think for those who are Catholic or are not practicing, or they're struggling, and I hope that this actually moves them to curiosity, to question, maybe there's something here that is part of my heritage that I should pay attention to. And for those that have never heard the gospel, I mean, we want beauty to speak to them. Like, and this has to be an evangelistic show. And I think that that's the beauty of having David as the host. For those who know David personally, he's the real deal. He's a Christian who loves the Lord, loves his family, loves his children, loves his brother and his father and mother, who is very talented. And here he is asking questions about faith prompted by beauty. And I think that the next generation really probably prefers to journey with someone like David who's authentic, rather than a teacher or someone that feels like it's just trying to get them to see something. So I think, when David was saying, like, there's a lot of preparation for a show like this. I mean, it's a massive project, but David truly was there discovering beauty and enjoying these conversations with his artists and artisans and experts and the people there. And I mean, I just can't wait for all of you guys to see these places, these beautiful situations that David was seeing through his eyes. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun too. So,
Peter, are we allowed to know a little bit what kind of places we ought to expect?
Well, they did a pretty good tour of Italy with 6 different cities, right? And I think, I won't say my favorites, but some of the episodes, like Venice was fantastic, Florence is amazing. And these are places, I've never been to Venice. And so watching it myself, seeing that episode, I was like, wow, I got to get there now. And the whole point, what you said, is EWTN's goal with a lot of what we do is to bring people to those places. That's why even like we air the rosary from Lourdes so people can be praying in Lourdes, right? Even though they'll never go. And you think you walk around St. Peter's and there's like thousands of people around you, like everybody must come here. 95% of the world probably won't, right? And so, when you look at the literal global reach that we're trying to do, it's amazing. So yeah, I would say the way we're going to release it is, kind of 1 episode a week, and so it'll be people are going to have to wait a little bit to get the next episode, but it's going to be great. And as they discussed, they just finished season 2, so thanks be to God. We were so excited when we saw the first one was done that we said, yeah, absolutely, we got to do season 2. So, which is in Spain, and so that's really going to be, I think, amazing. From what I've seen from it so far, it's pretty impressive.
Very good. I believe we do have an extra microphone if there are questions in the audience for our panelists. Anybody? Here's a question in the back.
Hi. Thank you very much for this tonight. My name is Sabina Castelfranco. I work for CBS News. I'd like to understand, apart from, Rome, Venice, Florence, they're kind of like the iconic Italian cities. What are the other 3? And then who exactly is your show targeted to? Because that's not completely clear to me.
Thank you very much. Maybe just the other cities, if we can disclose that.
So we have Vatican and Rome as separate episodes, just because there's so much to tell and very different stories to tell. We have Milan, Venice, and Florence. And then I think a very special episode is going to be Subiaco, so a place that these other cities a lot of people have been to or have heard of, but not many people have heard about Subiaco. And the story of St. Benedict is there in that episode, and I can't wait for people to watch that. So that's on the cities.
Yeah, for the target audience, it is geared towards those who like the travel genre, the travel show genre, and specifically, I think, the millennial Gen Z audience, because they're the ones who are mostly consuming the online content and are intrigued and know David from his work as well with Disney. So that's in the format and the style that was done is geared towards them.
If I may add something, we would love to see co-viewing for this episode. I think it's a type of episode that you watch with your family, that you watch with your parents, that you watch on your own too. So I think that has that kind of family, really entertainment, but also leaves you with something. I think we had that in mind when we were producing the show.
I mean, on that, David, I know you have a massive social media followership. And if you read surveys or studies, it's like really Gen Zs, millennials, one of the most important topics in their life is travel, which comes way before having a car or their own home or other things. Is that something that you see also in the comments and on your social media feeds?
Oh yeah, I certainly think my generation are the ones now that are coming into their adulthood. They're getting married, they're starting to have their first kids, and I think travel is on their mind. They want to go see the world. And there's not a ton out there. There's not a ton. There's the old Rick Steves. Everyone remembers the old Rick Steves, stuff out there, right? It's like, this is kind of that, I think, with a specific lens and a specific narrative on beauty. For a new generation, or Stanley Tucci's travel show, but with a specific area, not just food focused, more on beauty, culture, faith, art, reasons why things were built. So yeah, I think it is definitely geared towards millennial and the millennials and Gen Zs. But obviously, it can be broader than that. I think every show has a broader reach than you specifically focus on the center of the bullseye. But yeah, I definitely hope my audience will enjoy this.
Wonderful. There was another question here in the third row.
Hi, my name is John Kao. I'm a resident fellow at the American Academy here in Rome, and I had a question about distribution. Curious to know a little bit more about your distribution plans, but also specifically, how will people outside of the Catholic community find this program? What are the breadcrumbs that will kind of lead them to find it, and how does that relate to your distribution strategy?
Thank you.
So it's going to be distributed on our new EWTN Plus platform. And so that's the initial distribution. And so in the way we're going to lead people, that is mostly through our social media outreach. And we've also done a secular marketing campaign for this as well, to reach the secular markets, to make people aware of that. Beyond that, we're probably going to, a little bit later, also air on our linear channels, which has more vast distribution globally on that. And we're also working with a lot of our affiliates that we have throughout Europe to actually translate it into multiple languages as well. So we're looking for a true global audience in this, and it's just going to happen in stages.
And then Peter, you mentioned, but the platform is free.
Yeah, the platform's free. You can sign up to give us your information to kind of have a better user experience, but it is free. It's a brand new platform, and so it's already, when we launched in Roku, we had tremendous response to it already. So by the end of the year, it'll be everywhere. So EWTN Plus will be everywhere, and those who already had our app, it's going to just be an automatic transition to it, so they don't even have to do anything. And that's part of our initiative with our new EWTN digital division that we created, is not only creating the platforms, but marketing and distribution of all the different platforms out there, particularly in the social media realm.
Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of this wonderful panel, but allow me a last question, and there will be hopefully more time also afterwards in personal conversations here in the Vatican. But Peter, what are your hopes when it comes to the personal faith lives of people watching this? How do you think it will impact people in their beliefs, in the way they see their own faith?
It's a deep question, because you have a lot of different people are on a little different journeys in their faith, right? So those who are very devout, you hope they reflect more on the beauty and the gift of the faith. Those who are, I think this program could be entertaining and can grab like the nuns, the non-believers, because of the style, the format, the beauty, because of David's presence and the way he presents things, and in his excitement about learning, that people will just at least take a step, even a moment to reflect. And because God is speaking to everyone. Take a moment to reflect and say, God's saying something to me. What is he saying in this moment? And I think there are moments in the series that can lend everyone to take that one step. Like I was watching at some points and I reflected on some of the seasons. So that's what I hope people will do in their faith journey, no matter where they are. Take that moment.
Edmundo?
I hope that people are moved the way that we were moved on production and the crew, and everybody was there with the art, but also the stories, the human stories. There's some beautiful stories there in the show that I hope people are moved towards God, right? Like ultimately, we think of seeking beauty with capital B, the source of all beauty, God. So I hope that in the art and in the people and in the stories and culture, people find that calling from God speaking to them.
David?
Yes, to everything they just said, and I would just add that I hope people invite beauty into their own life in some way, shape, or form. I think you'll get many different ideas watching the show, but I think we can all bring beauty into our own life in our own ways, and hopefully this show makes you curious about that. So it's my hope that people get curious and they act on it.
On January 19th. When it debuts.
That was thank you very, very much. Thank you also for coming here to be with us, to also have this special screening. And thanks to everybody who joined us online. For those who are with us on the live stream, we have to say goodbye. And I hope that you will find time during this Advent season as well to let beauty in your lives, as David said. And from January 19th onwards, there's help on the way if you need a little bit of inspiration with Seeking Beauty. Peter, Edmundo, David, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really good. Thanks, Rob.